Just like the rest of the country, a lot of new construction's popping up here on the west coast of Florida. It really is everywhere. But how great would it be to think about buying a new house in a new city and in a new state? It's pretty exciting. But just like Dorothy said to Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Really, that's the same thing about real estate. It's not the same thing anymore. It's a lot different. So even if you've purchased new construction in the past, things have really changed and evolved here in 2021. So that's what I'm gonna cover in this video. And then I'm also gonna give you some food for thought to help you determine whether or not you still might be a good candidate for buying new construction. Hi, I'm Jill Thomas, and each week I bring new videos and fresh content about living here in the Sunshine State, moving to the Sarasota area, and then of course all things real estate. So if you've been thinking about making that big move, then this is the channel for you. Be sure to tap that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and keep on watching. And then when you're ready to take it up to the next level, then feel free to give me a call, text, or email me. I'm happy to talk to you, answer any of your questions, and then again, see if you're still ready to take it to the next level. I'm here for you. New construction is going up everywhere. Sarasota, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, Northport, Parrish, Venice, just about every town here in Sarasota and Manatee Counties, there's something being built somewhere. And there's everything, every type of property, single family home, townhouse, villa, condo. Really, if you can envision it, envision what you want your property to look like, it can be built. But like I said, things have changed here in 2021. So how do we go from conception to moving date? So that's why I want to go through 5 things you need to keep in mind in 2020 when it comes to new construction or building. Now, before I dig into the new processes, I want to make sure that you have a pretty decent understanding of the old processes and what the expectations were before, and it will help you to see a little bit more of the differences of today. Now, I did go into detail on all of these things in a video, episode 25, which I'll put a link to in the description below, but I just want to quickly do a little bit of a rundown for you on these things. When you see an advertised price for new construction, unless the house is totally complete, it might say, the advertised price might say, price is starting in the low 400s. And you think, oh, that's great because my budget is the mid 4s or the mid to high 4s. So I know I'll be safe. This is great. But that is not the entire price tag for that new home. That's just one element of several. The next thing is the lot fees or the lot premium, and builders will call it different things, but if you refer to either one or the other to a builder, they're gonna know what you're talking about. Because as you can imagine, not all lots are created equal. There's a different value assigned to that lot by the builder. And it depends on what the view, the location, there's different factors involved, even the size. You know, if you have a nice pie-shaped lot where the backyard is nice and wide and big, and you're on the water view, a wide water view, that lot's gonna be a lot more money than a smaller one that's just squared off and maybe backed up to another road. So those lot fees are gonna be different. And on the very low end, I've seen them in the past, you know, for a couple $1,000s. Right now, typically $10,000 to $20,000, $30,000 the norm. And then as the quality of the builder moves up and the price of the home moves up, so does the price of those lots. So now it's really not uncommon to see lot fees, $50,000, $60,000, and in the luxury market, it's going to be $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 for that lot. So you've got so that lot fee or lot premium gets added on to the base price of the home. And then the next thing to think about is all the fun stuff. So those, first of all, are like structural changes. So besides the base price of the house, some builders will allow you to make structural changes, and it's only those changes that they will permit. You just can't say, I want to move this wall or close this off or move a door here or there. Very typical examples might be is if there's an open den or a flex room, you could enclose that room and add some pretty French doors, extend the lanai out back, or add a swimming pool. So those are all examples of structural changes that a builder might allow. And then of course you get to do all the fun, pretty stuff by going to the design center. You get to pick out cabinets and countertops and flooring and colors and all that kind of fun stuff. And so those are all extra fees on top of the base price of the house. and then the lot fee or the lot premium. Then you've got the structural changes and the things from the design center. Now, a lot of builders will say on average, figure on spending at least 10% of the base price of the house and up to 30%. And it really depends on how much you want to put into your house. You know, if you want it super customized and have great copper ceilings and just really tremendous things like that, a lot of design elements, then of course you're going to pay for that. Then there's also a couple of builders out there, in order to keep the prices lower, do not offer any changes at all. Like, I'm talking zero. And even though I say that to people when we go in and the sales agent will tell them that, they'll say, yeah, but I just don't want carpet here, I want tile. Nope, not an option. But I want this color of this right here and not there. Nope, not an option. And that's how they just keep those prices down. And then the final thing I want to mention is, often if you use a builder's preferred lender or title company, then you're going to get what we call incentives. And typical incentives would be a credit towards your closing costs. Now, historically, I see them, $5,000 probably at the low end, and then $10,000 to $15,000 towards your closing costs. And really it depends on the price point of the property, because as you can imagine, the more expensive the property, then maybe the better the incentives. Now, last year during COVID, especially at the beginning, I took a buyer out to look at new construction, and it was a new community and they were kind of getting hit hard. Well, I'll just say it took them a little bit longer to get off the ground because of that. Hardly anybody was coming into the sales room. So as a result, not only did she get a credit to go towards closing costs, but she also got 50% off of structural changes to the house. It covered everything except for adding a swimming pool. So if she wanted to extend the lanai, fine. I think she made some changes in the one bathroom. Instead of it just being a tub and a shower combo, it was just a walk-in shower. So things like that. So that's another idea of a structural change. So builders will offer different types of incentives because they want you to use their in-house lender and title company. So this is just a little taste, a quick taste, a bit of a nutshell here of what you could have expected prior to this current market. But you guys want to know what's happening today, so let's jump into that now. Number one, the builders have a lot of things that are outside of their control. So for instance, right now, the availability and the prices of materials are going up, and the materials are certainly more scarce, but the demand for building is high. People want to build, they want to move here, and so the demand is there, but they just don't have the materials. Now, I have a gal who's closing next month in July on a house, but at one point, her house sat for 6 weeks waiting for framing. They completed everything else they could do, and they were waiting for that framing. And then they were waiting for the windows for a little while, and at one point the builder said that if the windows don't show up by a certain date, they were gonna wrap the whole house in Tyvek and start putting up the drywall, because it wasn't just her house, it's everybody else's house on the street, on the block there in that neighborhood. And so they just can't let these homes sit while they're waiting for the windows to show up. So the builders are having to make adjustments and change their processes in order to make it work and to work on deadlines and meet demand. Now, historically, I would say it take maybe 5 to 7 months to build most homes, maybe unless it was super customized, but otherwise that was a pretty good time frame. Now it's definitely more than 7 months. If not, it's 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe even an entire year from the time a buyer signs that contract to them moving into the house. And the builders will not give really any good indication of how long it will take. I mean, a sales agent might throw out a window, a time frame, just like I said, 5 to 7 months. Maybe they'll say 8 to 10 months, but really in the end, once you start talking to the builder himself, he doesn't really want to commit to too much. So sometimes that can cause some headaches. Number 2, costs. So as you can imagine, with the materials being scarce and the prices of those building materials going up, guess what is happening to the price of the homes? They're going up, up, up too, and they are going up even week over week. They change all the time. So don't anticipate paying the same price for a house. If you see it today and then you go back and revisit that community in a month, I would say anticipate that price going up. And not only the base price of the homes, but also those lots, those lot fees. Those prices are going up as well. Now, of course, I'm not tuned into their accounting practices or their budget, so I don't know if the lot increases are because of the increase of the prices, and they're just using those higher lot fees to offset the building costs, or if they're just increasing them because they can and people are willing to pay it because the demand is there. So it's certainly not discouraging too many people from purchasing. The builders are doing just fine making their sales. Number 3, getting under contract. So in spite of all the great demand for building and buyers wanting to buy, builders are not just writing a contract for every person who walks in the door and says, I want this lot with this house. In fact, you're going to go on a waiting list, and then each builder releases so many lots or properties or condos every week, or maybe every other week, or once a month. And then they start contacting those folks at the top of the waiting list, and they go down from there to see if people still have interest or not. And then once they reach out to you, typically you just have a couple of days to make a decision. Sometimes it's first come, first serve. Sometimes there'll be a deadline. And like previously, like a couple of months ago, some of these builders were just coming out and saying, okay, this is what's available. Like you've got 1 hour to respond. Otherwise, we're going on to the next person. I don't see quite so much of that anymore. Usually you have a couple days to respond. But again, that could change again. So just because the whole process is pretty fluid right now. And then when they do contact you, they might say, okay, this is the cost of the lot fee, take it or leave it. Or now they're saying sell the lot to the highest and best price. So whereas maybe before a year ago, maybe a premium lot was $30,000, now those lots are going for $50,000 or $60,000. Then once you are committed to go under contract, then you need to also wire in your deposit. And right now they're looking, most builders I think are like 10%. There was a couple I saw who wanted 20% down, and the 10 or 20% is typically just not based on the base price of the house, but also the lot and maybe the structural changes. So it's a pretty good chunk of change that they're looking for. Whereas before maybe they'd say they'd want 10%, but we could negotiate that down a little bit. And now they're like, nope, this is what we want. And that's that, because if you're not willing to put that much money down, then they're gonna go on to the next person. Number 4, spec homes. Just recently, I've had a number of builders tell me that they're gonna focus a little bit more on spec homes now versus selling lots and allowing buyers to customize the properties. Now, historically, it was not uncommon for builders to have so many spec homes going on. So then if a buyer came in the door and they found a property that they liked and were okay with the customizations that the builder did, that they could buy it without having to wait so long for the house to be finished. But it was more customization by the buyers, less spec homes. Now they're flip-flopping it. They're gonna do maybe 70% spec homes and 30% customization. And when I say spec home, that means the builder picks out the lot, the floor plan, the structural changes, and all the design elements. So the buyer gets to pick out zero, zilch, nothing. It's everything that the builder and their design team have chosen. Now, typically they do a pretty decent job grabbing some really nice features, but they're all a little bit different. And the one builder told me that they were gonna start to let people get under contract once they get to the drywall phase. And I guess that's pretty smart on the builders for doing this, because then they're gonna have a better idea of what the expenses are gonna be at that point versus working on these things months in advance, coming up with a price, and the pricing of things can change in 5 months from that time. So I suppose that is kind of smart of them. So we're gonna start to see more spec homes out there, I think. Number 5, other changes. Okay, there's a few other little things I wanna quickly remind you of or make you aware of that I wanna throw into this one bucket. First of all, incentives. I mentioned something about incentives earlier from the builders. Now, right now, because of the way the market is, I wouldn't really plan on getting anything awesome in the way of incentives. I've been hearing things like $1,000, which really, in the grand scheme of things, isn't a pile of money. So it's not gonna help you tremendously to offset those expenses. And please don't go in with the idea that you're gonna be able to negotiate better incentives or a better price on the property or the lot. Because the demand is so strong, they just will tell you to move along, and they'll start talking to the next person. So unfortunately, negotiations, isn't really a thing right now. Second of all, I know I've been talking more about single family homes, but really the concepts still apply to a condo or a villa or a townhouse, because the location or the view from those other properties are going to vary as well. So plan on paying more for those properties that have a better view than not. But still, if the builder allows changes or design elements, you can still go through that process too. But the idea of still getting on a list, waiting in line is the same with a condo. And then finally, I do want to mention to you that you can use a realtor to buy new construction. And I am very, very familiar with the process and working with a lot of these builders. Now, here's the thing. When you go in, let's say you want to just go in on your own and start looking at models, which is totally fine. But when you walk in and talk to the sales agent, then I would say to them, I don't want to register today. I'm already working with an agent. I just want to look at the models. Because as soon as you fill out that little 5x7 card with your name and contact information, if I'm not there with you at the time, then I most likely will not be able to help you at all and help walk you through the process. So just keep that in mind. And it doesn't cost you any more or less if you do use a realtor. The builders factor in that expense, in the whole grand scheme of things as they're laying out pricing that, those expenses to pay for a real estate agent. I want to give you a real life example of something that I'm going through right now with a really sweet couple from Las Vegas. So they were here in mid-May, a couple of months ago, and we looked at a lot of new construction, a lot. And by the time they left, they narrowed it down to 6 communities, had the floor plans that they loved the most or the models, even figured out, okay, what structural changes do they want? I mean, we did a ton of homework and research, so they felt good about it. Then after they left, they kept talking, we kept getting more information from the builders, and then they narrowed it down to just 3 communities. Well, we wanted to make sure that those sales agents knew that these folks are serious. So for 2 out of the 3, they got pre-approved with the builder's lender. And then one sales agent said, hey, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So we together decided we were going to tag team and gently squeak to all these sales agents, because when the opportunity comes up, we want to make sure that we are positioned the best that we could. So we just did everything that we could. And in fact, one sales agent wasn't very responsive to my emails. So I drove over there just to get some face-to-face time with him to make sure that he knew we were serious. So then sure enough, last week, buyers get an email from one of the communities, and in the email was a mass email that was sent out to I don't know how many people. And they said, here's the 3 lots that are available. They gave the lot numbers, and here's the models that are going to go on each one of those lots. So the builders have already figured that out. And it was basically first come, first serve. So on that first day, the buyer committed to that. Well, then I still, though, went over to the community, took pictures of the lot so he knew and she knew exactly what it was going to look like. Went in, talked to the sales agent to make sure we're all on the same page. So it's pretty exciting because now, these sweet folks are going to be able to get under contract. But by the time they actually sign the contract, which the builder writes the contract, I don't write it, so we're dependent on them to pull it together. It'll be probably 10 weeks since they had been here. So the process is not super simple. Like, it took us all this time just to get to the point of going under contract. Oh, and not only is the builder choosing the lot, choosing the house, they chose the structural changes, they've already chosen those, and they're going to choose all the design elements. We're not going to go to the design center at all. Now, we did gently put in some requests of what the buyers would like. And so the sales agent's going to see what she can do, but no promises, just so, the buyers can have the white cabinets that they want and, certain types of countertops. But we're really at the mercy of those folks there, those builders, and the buyers are willing to take that risk just because they really like this community, they like the house, it's a decent lot, so they're very, very excited. But I just wanted to share with you that's what's going on right now in our market, and that's really what this kind of looks like. And what's nice too is because I have sold a lot of new construction and I'm very familiar with a lot of the builders, and just going through that process, buyers do like having an agent working with them because they just know it's somebody that's 100% looking out for them. And because of my experience, I can really help you to make some good decisions, think through things with those structural changes, go into the design center. And in the end, it doesn't mean that you have to do what I recommend, but it's just nice to have somebody else there to make some nice recommendations that's really looking out for you and just giving you somebody else to bounce thoughts off of all the time. People text me, Jill, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Do you think this is smart? And so I like helping to give some of my feedback and insight, especially too after buyers who have built and they close, they'll come back to me and go, oh, Jill, I really wish I would have done this or that. So I use that insight that I've gathered from past buyers to help future buyers. So that's all very nice. It does kind of come full circle. So is building new for you in 2021? Boy, there's certainly a lot of things still to think about. And buyers were still, there's definitely anxiety when you're building a house. There's no doubt about it. But now I think because things are constantly changing and soft deadlines from before are now squishy, smushy, soft deadlines. There's nothing concrete about it really. So that's why I think it lends itself to a little bit more anxiety. So that's why it might not be a good fit for everybody. And especially too, if you have to rent for a while the house is being built, people are asking me, well, how long do I rent for? We're talking to the builder, trying to get their 2 cents on it, and they just will not provide anything concrete. So that's a little bit challenging as well as just trying to figure out the logistics of everything. But if deadlines aren't super important to you and you've got that latitude, then hey, you know what? New construction's still a really good fit. I mean, how wonderful it is to get a brand new house, especially if you can make those choices and customize it the way you want and pull together that dream house. It's just a lovely, awesome thing. So like I said, it's not maybe a good fit for everyone, but you can always give me a call and talk to me and bounce some things off of me so you can kind of try to determine if building right now will be a good fit for you. Okay, YouTube comment of the week. And actually I pulled this comment before I wanted to use it. And then just so happens that it coincides with our theme today with new construction. So Joan Bloom said, I was excited that Del Webb and Parrish has a sign that used to say in the low 200s, then it went to mid 200s, and now it says high 200s. When is it gonna stop? It's not right. I know, Joan, it's very frustrating. And like I was talking about in this video, with the prices of the materials going up, that's what the builders are doing. And also, I don't know where the line's drawn between them needing to increase the prices because of the materials and them increasing the prices because they can. Now, it could be totally legit, these price increases, but then maybe not. And I can't say one way or the other for sure. So that is very frustrating. And then also remember that it's just not when it says low 200s, add the lots, add the changes, add all the extras to that price. And then also, even when they say low 200s, what does that mean? I don't think it always necessarily means between 200 and 220. It could be 235 or 240. So, and then you still add on all of those things. So you just really do have to watch those numbers. And the other thing that I get calls on all the time, especially before, right now the builders aren't putting many properties into the MLS, but before, when they'd put a property in at the base price of the house, not the lot, not any of the changes, and they would use the photos of the most gorgeous models. So they'd have a beautiful pool area, an outdoor kitchen, gorgeous ceilings. I mean, every little bit of trim and piece of wonderfulness that you could envision wanting in a house. So the reality of it is the house might even be worth $900,000 or $1 million, and they got a price on it at $650. I got buyers saying, hey, just stick the contract in front of me right now. I'll sign the paper now. I want this house at $650. And that's not how it works. Probably doing that house up in a more average fashion, a more normal fashion, would cost $750,000 or $800,000, and here they are sticking $1 million house under your nose, with a $650 price tag on it. So I don't know how they're able to get away with pricing things like that, but they all do it. So it's just not one builder or the other. They're all like that. But anyhow, Joan, thanks so much for watching my videos, watching that video on Parrish, and leaving me a comment. So if you're interested in new construction, don't be shy, give me a call. Let me help you try to navigate those waters. I'm happy just to chat with you about all of those things and see if new construction's a good fit for you right now. And then also, I'm just really enjoying doing Zoom calls with all of you guys. Please use me as a resource. Let me help take on some of that anxiety and help make things concrete. Use me as a sounding board as you go through the process. I really do want to help you guys out. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Have a great day. Bye-bye.